Phil Johnson here from designsbyphil.com. I wrote a couple of post processors for people with VFD spindles. VFD spindles require a warm-up before you even get going in the morning. I made a video showing how to use the dwell command to write your own G code to do a couple minute warm-up. All you'd have to do is write the code once every morning before you start. You run that code and it will warm up the spindle for you. I also wrote some post processors here that will allow the spindle to spool up before digging in. Right here it says Demon VFD spindle. So these are the ones. This is how you'll know. This is what will show up in vCarve when you go to select it. This is what it'll show up as. If we go down past the variables, you'll see the begin header. Right here is the coordinate system, the inches, and then absolute or incremental value right there. That's the typical what goes on there. This is absolute. Then we have our first rapid, or in the header, that would move the Z up to the starting height position. And then we have the spindle command. This is the first command that will start the spindle up at the given RPM. Right after that is the dwell code, G04 and then P5. This 5 is in seconds, so it'll sit there for 5 seconds before moving on to begin the first rapid movement, and then begin first feed movement codes. This first one is just the standard inches. If you are not using the M7 or M8, this is the one that you'd use if you're using a VFD spindle. If you are using M7 or M8 for the purposes of running a vacuum or the cooling pump, if it's water cooled, this one is the one you want. This one here says Demon VFD spindle inches with M7 and M8. If we go past that to the header, once again you'll see the M7 and M8. So this starts the whatever devices you have going, and then it lists all these stuff, the typical stuff, and then it starts the spindle. And then here again we have a dwell code, and it sits at 5 seconds before making any movements. If you go in this and you change it, you can change it to anything, save it, and then you have to get out of vCarve and go back into it completely, and then it will be updated the next time you save the file or save a toolpath. What's different with the M7 and M8 ones is you scroll down to the header or to the footer, you'll see another dwell code. So here, right here is M5. That is the command to shut the spindle off. And then just below that, it moves home, and that was after raising up to Z. And then right here is a dwell code again, and here's another 5 seconds before it shuts off the M7 and M8 with the M9 code. The M9 shuts off the M7 and M8, and then there's the end of code for the program. So there again, here's the ones that I have that'll be available on my website. Is Demon inches, the VFD inches, the VFD inches with M7, VFD inches with M7 and M8, and the VFD with just the M8, depending on how you have it set up and what you're running. There could be an instance where you have a coolant pump for milling aluminum or something like that for the M7. And then sometimes you don't need that and you only need the M8, which is maybe your dust collector. Who knows. Alright guys, take care.